Show! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who kept us going for 323 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames Dude of the week is that dude, bro.
Thank you, that dude, bro.
Thank you, that dude, bro.
We're getting close to a year's worth of episodes. Just kind of hit me right there when I said that.
Yeah, you could listen to one episode a day for an entire fucking year. But there's 52 episodes in a year that we've done. Some years we've done a couple extra, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so what? That's almost 7 years we've been going. That's some wild shit. You're not tired of me yet? Huh? Right after Valentine's Day, huh?
Or really vice versa.
Yeah, you got me roses, guys. He did, definitely. But everybody knows what we're talking about. We're going to talk about, the Nintendo Direct this week. But first, we got to thank our sponsor. They've been real great sponsors, and we're talking about Manscaped.
That's right. Made my Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not really, but, it helped.
I don't think, the thing is I don't think having ball trimmers can, seal the deal, but they sure as shit don't hurt. And
don't hurt.
With the Performance Package 4.0, which is kind of their big starter kit right now, you get all of our favorite products. You get my personal favorite, which is the Ball Cream, Crop Preserver, and now granted, the Crop Reviver is a spray that you can take on the go, and I think that's TSA safe, so if you're traveling, that's the one to go with.
Yeah, who knows? Things might be opening up again, so...
Personally, I think the Ball Cream feels a little better, but then you got to rub your balls. And, that's either a plus or a minus for you. I don't know.
That is very much a plus or minus depending on the person, but, you kind of have either one, though, if you want to go spray on or you want to go rub it in.
Yeah, look, if you can convince your significant other to put on your ball deodorant for you, that's a win. That's a win.
Wow. That is a win.
And then, of course, you got the Lawnmower 2.0, and I mean this thing's...
I think it's higher than that now. I think it's up to 4.0.
It is up to 4.0. You're right. Did we get an earlier? I don't know. We got the 4.0.
No. We got a 4.0.
No, we got the 4.0.
Got the flashlight and everything.
Yeah, no, this thing's pretty legit. No shit. It is actually better than the first smartphone I got, because the first smartphone I got didn't have a flashlight.
That's true. There you go.
So you can have high-tech ball trimming capabilities, and it's wirelessly charged, and it can be used in the shower. So, you can, if you're feeling a little self-conscious, you're like, I don't want my partner to know that I trim my balls, get yourself a little hair stopper, because trust me, you don't want that hair going down your drain. And then, do it in the shower, man. I wouldn't do it directly under the water. I mean, it's pretty safe, but I don't know.
Just in case, you want to be your solid snake.
I get a little, I get a little iffy.
Do it in the shower.
But yeah, if you're interested in checking out the Performance Package 4.0, you get boxers, you get a shirt, you get the cool directions. Bag. You do get a really nice bag.
What do they call it? Not a tote bag.
Dop kit.
Dop kit.
Dop bag. Yeah, no, that's pretty slick.
And it's got a little pouch on the inside too, so you can kind of put the brush and the different
and attachments and shit like that.
Different attachments to the lawnmower, because you can actually choose your own adventure when it comes to your ball hair. You could have it lightly trimmed, or it can be almost down to the wire, like stubble, like The Rock's hairline in the original Doom movie, that low, if you want to go that low.
Yeah, I mean, you could be a real young man, or you could be proud of your bush. And I didn't
not look like the chin on a Duck Dynasty character.
Yeah.
So
yeah, see, what the real trick is you take care of everywhere else, but then you let your taint hair grow out real long and braid it.
So you get like a long,
then it's on purpose.
Like a Viking beard coming off your taint right at the bottom.
If you're interested in building a better relationship with your balls, check out manscaped.com. Use our code YOVG, all caps, for 20% off and free shipping worldwide. And now, our topic is the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, so obviously
Some cool shit got
we don't
announced.
record on Wednesdays. We try to get it out on Wednesdays, so we have to record before Wednesdays. So last week, obviously, we were before the big direct, which got announced on like Monday morning, no, Tuesday morning, something like that.
Yeah, they're giving less and less of a runway on these things, like where they're just like throw it out there. Last week we recorded a little bit early. You know, part of it was just kind of like our schedules weren't mixing up, or I don't know. We were like, oh fuck yeah, we're gonna record early. We're gonna be so productive, and then it gets announced, and it's like shit, we should have waited. But some cool stuff got announced, and it gave us time to kind of, I don't know, settle into actually being excited. Sometimes I think when we do it day of, we get dismissive about certain things and then really amped about other things. And I think with this, I'm like, oh, there's some shit that grew on me. Like, at first, I could not give a shit about Kirby at all. And then the more I see about it, it just looks like a dumb, fun game. Yeah. I also loved that there was debate about how Kirby really would have eaten a car.
Yeah, because there's been other games
sort of amazing
where he gets like he goes like full black hole with his suckage, and in this one it's weird. He's like now
all my favorite girls are like that.
Well, now he's like it's all mouthful mode is so bizarre, and I'm like my immediate first thought was just, oh, nothing bad will come about this on the internet for sure. Because that's my mind immediately just went there. Because Kirby's like basically turning this big stretched condom over everything.
I mean, there's already a Gluck Gluck video of that, right?
I don't know, probably. So I mean, it's kind of bizarre. It's more like why wouldn't he just turn into a Kirby car? Like, why would he just be stretched over the top of one?
I think it's funnier. I think it's funnier that he's stretched over the top of one.
Yeah, it definitely is funnier, and it definitely, I mean, it adds a little more effort, I guess you could say, into the animation and the interactivity of the world. The game looks charming as fuck, of course.
It really does.
And I'm excited for the game. It's the first 3D platformer Kirby game. I mean, yeah, there was Kirby Air Ride where you could ride around on a little star thing in 3D, but it's not a 3D platformer. So
yeah, are you scared of that? Sometimes when they make the leap to 3D,
it definitely looks like, it definitely looks like it's not going to be an exploration adventure based collectathon. Like, it's not going to be like Mario Odyssey or Banjo-Kazooie. It's going to be
Always.
I think it's going to be closer to like Crash.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm getting much more like something along those lines where it's like very like the camera's mostly static, kind of like maybe just follows
side
you
to
left
side,
or right. Yeah, like not it's not going to be like this big enormous like again it's not going to be Mario Odyssey, and that's fine.
I think something that I was shocked by it is that it actually looks like graphically it actually looks pretty good.
Yes, yeah. I mean, even the first trailer had some shots that were really, really good looking, and
yeah, really pretty.
And there was still some pretty stuff in this one too. It's very colorful, of course. I still can't get over the fact that like the sort of aesthetic of the world is like an abandoned civilization kind of thing, where it's like he goes to this abandoned city, and then he goes to an abandoned mall, and then he goes to like an abandoned theme park, and I'm like, all right, motherfuckers, who on the dev team played way too much Nier Automata? Like,
I can't wait for the Kirby zombie game.
It's like this weird cutesy version of the exact same areas from Automata, and it's like I'm not the only one who's noticed that. But unfortunately, we're not going to get any existential dread, except for Wooly, who will find some way to try to legitimately prove how the Kirby creators and developers really had this cosmic horror, like true idea based into the game, and that it's really just a metaphor for some sort of nihilism or some shit. I don't know.
So one thing that I'm learning about Wooly, I've only ever met him once or twice at like Evo. So one, you're saying he's a nihilist, and two, you're saying that he thinks that it's a cosmic horror.
Well, okay. So I did actually talk to him about this once, and he was like, okay, here's the funny thing. He's like, go look up the head Kirby. I don't know if it's the creator or one of the leads or whatever from HAL Laboratories. He's like, go look up his actual artwork and stuff. And I was like, okay. And I was looking it up one day, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's like really into cosmic horror, like on the side. And he's like, yeah, it's bizarre. Like you think it's all just a joke, and then like when you actually look up what this guy's into, it's like, whoa, wait, what?
I mean, when your whole career is based around making a bubblegum testicle, you know, I imagine your relax time is like, I'm going to draw something horrific.
You know, and I was thinking about that too, because there's been a couple people who's sadly the Berserk creator who passed away.
Yeah.
You know, he was really into Idolmaster. No.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. What? No, go ahead.
He was really into Idolmaster. He played those really cutesy, colorful music rhythm games. That was his unwind. Was just to do like the most cutesy shit possible.
Wow.
With Idolmaster stuff.
Given how dark that shit is, yeah, I get that.
I kind of get George R.R. Martin's weird. He gets into NFL apparently really big. I've heard.
Yeah.
I guess his unwind is Merc on football, just the most farthest thing you can get from
fantasy,
high fantasy concepts.
So you're saying he doesn't do fantasy football?
He probably does do fantasy football, which is funny because
I'm not proud of that joke, but
fantasy football is D&D for jocks.
Holy shit! Yes, yeah, no, that's true. I have always had a hard time getting into fantasy football. I tried to when my wife and I first started dating. She was into fantasy football, and there was like a sitcom called like The League or something that like a lot of her friends were really into, and like everybody wanted to do fantasy football, and I just couldn't get into it. And like I play D&D, but all the things I love about D&D don't exist in fantasy football. Like I'm not gonna get really into pretending I'm a wide receiver, you know?
Yeah.
But
so
I mean, I guess I might.
Fantasy football. Did you see the teaser for Lord of the Rings?
During
the Super Bowl or online after?
The animated one or the
No, not the animated one. That one's well, like the Amazon one, the $1 billion.
Oh
Amazon
no,
production.
I guess I didn't.
It was very short, very, very, very small snippet.
Oh, is this the one that shows like the dwarf and the elf?
Barely.
I mean, the elf's armor is sort of sick as fuck.
The wooden face on it.
Yeah, like the wooden face armor.
That's like a shot for like Vanity Fair or EW or something. It's not actually in the trailer. You do see him though, for like all of 2 seconds, just like pulling a bowstring back or whatever. But
like you do, you know.
I kind of got a little bit in you know. I was telling Max this. I was like, it kind of gives me a little bit of Hobbit vibes with how much CG is in this. And he's like, well, you're just not going to get away from that. Like, I'm like, there's really no getting away from it. Like he was saying, like, you're not going to get something that was made with a plethora of practical and a lot of miniatures that the original Lord of the Rings trilogy was. Because as much CG is in Lord of the Rings, there's a shit ton of practical and models and miniatures.
And it's forced perspective, and it's, I mean, they really took all the tricks and wrapped it into one, which is what made it work.
Yeah, he's like, you're just not going to, no matter what, it doesn't matter how much money they've spent on this thing, you're not going to get away from having a sort of like really overbearing CG look to everything. There's some shots look good though. You know, some shots do look, hey, look, it's like we're kind of back. We're back, you know, we're back to where we were. But, and those are the shots you can obviously tell that they were, because you know anything about the production, they actually were debating it for a while, and then they basically made an announcement: we're going to shoot in Scotland because there was these huge tax breaks, and then COVID hit, and then
we're going to shoot in New Zealand.
We're going to shoot in New Zealand. You know what? We've decided we're going to go back to New Zealand and shoot there. It's like I'm glad they did that, but it's also kind of like feels like they should have done that from the start. Personally.
There's this crazy new soundstage technology, sort of like what The Mandalorian is on. Maybe The Mandalorian was actually shot on this, but basically it's a several thousand screens makes the backdrop, and they can make a photorealistic backdrop, and then the lighting in the studio matches whatever backdrop you put around. It can wrap around.
And then it's like a wall of little tiny LEDs or whatever that can basically match
whatever environment it is for the background.
Yeah.
So basically, the master shot gets shot on location with like a B team or whatever, and then all the dialogue scenes where you're in close-ups, mediums, shit like that happens in a soundstage. But because of the way the camera works, like the camera tracking works, the perspective always stays perfectly correct, so it looks exactly like it's a real place just out of focus in the background. And the lighting of the LED screens matches the type of environment it is, so it puts the proper amount of light reflecting onto the actors that you would need. It's insane.
It's really good, although it's getting harder to tell, but you can kind of tell a little bit when something's still like it's outdoors, but it's still technically not real.
I did the QC on a set of videos for the company that I'm working at that's shot on this. Oh, yeah. And the way it was done and the way it was given to me, I couldn't tell it wasn't outdoors until they revealed it. Like once they revealed it, I could tell just based on like the white balance, because the white balance was too perfect in some ways.
That's what I was saying. I was like, sometimes like the lighting almost looks a little.
But if nobody
perfect.
tells you, you're like, it just looks like Hollywood bullshit. It looks like Hollywood where they have, muslins that are 18 buys and shit like that, Like, I don't know if anyone's ever looked a behind the scenes outdoor shot, but basically
they're just giant like walls of
white, like muslin sheets and stuff to block out, to put the whole cast in shadow and stuff, which lets you get a much more regular lighting and regular white balance and stuff to it. But it looks amazing. I'm sort of looking forward to the day where that becomes ubiquitous, because I think it's way more effective than green screen by far. Like, so much more effective than green screen that, like, I could really see that being like a new way of filmmaking, period. Like, that's all sound stages are that way from now on, that kind of thing.
You never know.
I don't know. It's really exciting and cool shit. Especially if you're into photography and cinematography. Like, reading the tech on that is fucking insane. Like, I like that stuff, but I'm not nearly knowledgeable enough to know all the ways it's exciting. But I know enough to know, like, holy shit, like, this is really, it's really cool. I imagine lighting it, because you have to go in and design all the lighting beforehand.
Yeah. It actually puts post-production into pre-production in a way, right?
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, it's probably not amazing for, a lot of like visual effects artists. I don't know how it changes their. Actually, it might make their lives easier.
It might be good because it actually might get them involved sooner, rather than we've done all this stuff. We only have a month left to do this. Can you finish this real quick? Like, hammer this out.
Yeah, that's fair.
It could be a benefit.
I mean, I would love to just get like a day to mess around on it. If I could somehow work a day into just like shoot random scenes and kind of fuck around with it, that'd be great. I would love that. But okay, back to the Nintendo Direct. Can I tell you one of the shocking things that I found myself actually like sort of jazzed by? Which at first you'd think I'd be like, whatever, who gives a fuck? The Wii Sports, Switch Sports,
okay,
Sports.
I thought there's a number of things I thought you could have been mentioning, but yeah, Nintendo Switch Sports, which you knew was going to be weird to how would they if they ever did bring Wii Sports back, how do you bring it back? Because you can't say Wii Sports. Could you say Nintendo Sports? It's like nobody called it Nintendo Sports. No one, I don't even think it was called Nintendo Wii Sports. It's just a Wii Sports Resort. Like, it was never referred to as So it was funny when they introduced the trend, like, the next in the line of the Nintendo Sports Collection. Nintendo Sports? The hell are you talking about, lady? But yeah, I mean, so like
they messed up.
Nintendo Switch Sports, it's fine. It doesn't roll off the tongue like the Wii Sports did. But hey, it's there. My cynical thing is this is way the fuck too late. personally speaking, like,
well, it's what I thought 1-2 Switch was gonna be.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
If this was at the time of 1-2 Switch, it might have done way better than it will do. But who knows? The system, is still on a roll. They sold 103 million Switch systems. It's doing gangbusters still. But here's the thing: I don't, and I think you're going to be the counter to this, because I'm like, I don't know how many people are actually excited anymore about going back to Wii Sports this many years later.
If it's bundled.
Well, if it's bundled with this, they didn't say anything about bundling it with the system, but
and here's why.
Would be a good idea.
One of the reasons why the Wii sold so much is it became like ridiculously popular with college kids in dorms and shit.
Dorms and like assisted living places too.
Yeah, and specifically from my own anecdotal experience, it was college age women fucking bought a Wii, and Wii Sports was on it, and they never bought another goddamn game.
Right, yeah, exactly.
If you bundle it, even if, you bundle it with a little bit of extra money for the Wii Sports game, I think you open that door again. I don't know, because I think Gen Z especially, I think gaming is more ubiquitous with them. So I think there's, whereas maybe, millennial women didn't play games when we were in college, it wasn't as common. Now it's super common for both millennial and Gen Z women to play whatever. I mean, Animal Crossing. I would have never called Animal Crossing like a broad appeal game until all of a sudden, like, everybody fucking, especially women, were buying it.
Till it was.
Yeah. I think that's great, honestly. It's the Nintendo Switch Sports is kind of like that door opener for the Switch.
It kind of gets into that debate about whether or not it's just a real game, or it's like, oh, it's just some casual shit or whatever. But
I don't give a fuck. I'd rather casuals or who spends money.
At the end of the day, it's like it's people enjoying video games. Like it really doesn't need to be a sort of well, this is not a real video game. This is not a Souls game. This is not a real thing. It's just some bullshit Wii Sports. And it's like, yeah, there's a whole discussion there about like what constitutes like a real video game and what doesn't. And I think that, obviously we're on the same page about how it's completely bullshit, but I think that also bleeds into sort of a conversation that happens after every Nintendo Direct, and it happened in this Direct too, which is, this was, by I would say most accounts, a really good Direct. It really covered a lot of bases, a lot of different types of genres and customers, or all these different gamer types, right?
Yeah.
But some people were like, there not many. It was not common, but like there were some people who were kind of really upset, that there wasn't a Zelda update. So I heard that. There was one guy. It doesn't even matter. But I think I only really saw one, and I'm not perusing. I'm not even looking for it. Just it shows up in the recommended feeds on YouTube. And there was only one guy who I saw was like disappointed with the Direct, and even he had to be like kind of, like it's like I can't say this was like, I can't really say it was like definitively bad, because it's obviously gonna be really good for some people. But man, like. And it's the kind of guy who has all behind him is just filled with a lot of Mario and Zelda stuff on the wall. And and this is not a sort of like shit on a certain type of gamer, but it's more of a, for me, it's like, if all you ever want from Nintendo is to talk about major, where's the next big Mario, Zelda, and then maybe Donkey Kong, or maybe Metroid, then I think you're kind of part of the problem where franchises die. Like,
I think it's linked to identity.
Yeah, but it's just what makes gaming great, and what's great about video games now as opposed to, say, 25 years ago or older, is that there's so many more people playing, and there's so many different types of games. Because here's a funny anecdote. just before we were recording this, I went on the PlayStation Store to buy King of Fighters 15, and oh my god, all that money for the deluxe edition. Ugh. But like the craziest thing was, I just went. I'm like, where's the new game? So I thought it might be in the new game tabs, right? I saw not one, but two lesbian visual novel games show up there on the PlayStation Store, right near the top. And you know what? I'm thinking that's fucking great. That's great, because that would be impossible 20 years ago, 25 years ago. We would never have gotten a visual novel game, let alone a game that was, you know, not some weird Leisure Suit Larry style thing. I mean, like, no, they're romance games.
How dare you?
These are like, okay, no, it's an actual romance. It's not done for titillation. You know, it's not done for, you know, to appeal. Like, Life is Strange does not exist, 25 years ago. Wii Sports doesn't really exist 25 years ago. And again, a game announced in this direct, Live Alive, is a game that never left Japan just because they thought it would be too weird or too much for people to handle. Earthbound Beginnings was another one. And I know it came out on the Wii U, you know, a little while ago, and it's coming back to the Switch Online. But Earthbound Beginnings is a game that Nintendo fully translated and then just kind of looked at it and went, nah, not enough of a market for it. And it just didn't happen.
Well, I mean, how many gamers are there now compared to 25 years ago?
Exactly. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that you can have a direct that has so many different genres covered and so many different franchises covered and so many different player types covered. That's great. It was a fucking great direct because of that. And to sit there and say, well, where was Zelda and Mario? Where was these massively, massively mainstream of the mainstream of the mainstream game announcements? And it's like, man, fuck you. Like,
well,
we can't ever not just go have all these great things announced. There always has to be, you know, this fucking Mario and Zelda always has to be there on their mainstay form. I mean, there were Mario games. There was no Zelda there, whatever. And Metroid was very much just, hey, we're getting some minor free DLC mode updates to Metroid Dread. Cool. But
I think, I think a lot of this goes back to what we've talked about in the past, where it's like, especially if you're an older gamer, you know, if you're, say, 25 and above even, you know, gaming used to be niche and it used to be a part of your identity because you used to get shit for it. You know, you used to be a sort of like, there used to be like an underground to it, you know, an underground feeling of it, you know, sort of like how punk rock is mainstream now. There's no real punk rock anymore.
Right. Yeah.
You know, when you wanted to buy a t-shirt of a video game you loved, the only fucking gaming t-shirts that they sold anywhere was like Mario and Zelda. And Zelda was always assumed to be the main character. Don't make me go Zelda on you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I remember those shirts.
You know, that kind of shit. So I think it became ingrained in identities. And so I think for older gamers especially, you know, not seeing your Zelda, loving Zelda as a part of your identity, you latch onto it. The same way bros in fucking 2007, 2008 latched onto COD. Well, I play COD. I love COD and I love football. I love big titties. That's what I love. You know, those are the things. God, country, titties. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that inherently. You know, you love what you love. I do think it becomes wrong when you, like, get pissy about there being other options. You know, I like if some metaphorical or, you know, if some random guy who I'm making up for the sake of this argument got mad that there was lesbian visual novels on the store because, like, fucking they're catering to the wokes or something and not just selling something to lesbians, yeah, I would say, like, okay, well, you know, chill the fuck out, dude. Who gives a shit? Don't buy it. You know, like, I don't know.
Which is the same argument they always made when, like, you'd have all these concerned parental groups talking about, like, you know, oh, there's these awful video games on the market, and we always just don't buy it, don't watch it.
Yeah, I'm pretty against, like, laws and rules made for the sake of, you know, the safety of stupid people. So it's like, if you're dumb enough to buy a lesbian graphic novel, not knowing that it's a lesbian graphic novel, and then you get mad because you saw lesbians kissing or being generally attentive to each other's needs.
Yeah, I think the description of one of them was literally a wholesome lesbian romance.
Yeah, I mean, if you're dumb enough to buy that and get shocked by it, you deserve it. You deserve all of the anguish that you're going through right now. I don't know. I don't want to protect you. Like, I don't. I got nothing for you. But that being said, like, yeah, I would have loved an update on Zelda in this. I would have loved to see a little bit more. I sort of expect this Zelda to be just more Breath of the Wild. So I don't necessarily need to see anything to know what I'm getting, but I would love an update or like a shocking revelation to change the way that I'm seeing this game. That'd be fucking cool. That being said, I mean, I can't think of the last time any game announcement or direct had this many interesting, you got Mario Strikers, which is a real comeback, although I sort of suspect that that's related to the Nintendo Switch Sports. They sort of seem...
I mean, they're about 2 months apart on release, but yeah,
Switch Sports first?
Yeah, Switch Sports is first.
Yeah, because it's the base game.
Well, it's funny because like the full soccer mode's not coming till a free update later.
Pocket League.
Like, yeah, it's just the shootout mode, I think, at the start, and then like the full soccer match comes a little bit later, and then golf in the fall. But yeah, Mario Strikers Battle League is wow.
That is an interesting fucking choice.
Because it was one of those franchises that kind of got like left in the dust in like the GameCube era, GameCube early Wii era. Because like there was a number of games that they made. The GameCube was sort of like their, I don't know, like their Rubber Soul era of, they're trying out a bunch of new other things and stuff, and unfortunately, like it kind of like they either morphed into other things entirely, or they just sort of disappeared. Yeah, and what I mean by that is like you had Mario Strikers, which up until now there was the GameCube, there was the Wii follow-up, then it disappeared. And there's a lot of games that actually kind of follow this pattern where like there was a time where like Mario Tennis was like there was a GameCube, there was a Wii version, and then it disappeared. But with the Wii version, there actually was no Mario Tennis on Wii. It was just the GameCube version again.
Adapted to work with Wii controls, right?
Yeah, and then they didn't really do anything until Mario Tennis Aces way, way, way later. Same with Mario Golf. I think there were 3DS versions of Mario Tennis and Golf. But like on console, it was just kind of like, okay, there was Toadstool Tour, and then it disappeared. And then there was Battalion Wars on the GameCube, and they had a Wii sequel, and then it disappeared. Paper Mario radically shifted after the GameCube.
Yes.
And it's never gone back to being like the Thousand Year Door. And then there was like Pikmin. There was 1, and then there was 2, and it kind of went away for a while. And they had Pikmin 3 on the Wii U finally, and then they had Pikmin 3 Deluxe on the Switch. But like Pikmin's kind of like, it took forever to go from 2 to 3 on the Wii U, skipped the whole Wii generation, and then they did a deluxe version for the Switch, which did okay actually, sales wise on the Switch. But like they've not done much, otherwise with.
And you had Pikmin. Evil Pikmin Overlord.
Yeah,
Evil Pikmin knockoff.
There was a kind of a similar situation with Fire Emblem, where there was like Fire Emblem on the GameCube, and then there was the Wii follow-up shortly into the Wii's life cycle, and then Fire Emblem went away for a while until they brought back with the Lucina game Awakening, I think. And then that was like, apparently there was like very much like that was like that was it for Fire Emblem. Like if that game didn't sell, the series was going into complete hibernation. So it's interesting to me because I really just thought Mario Strikers was never coming back because it's the Next Level Games franchise. Now, Next Level Games did Luigi's Mansion 2 and Luigi's Mansion 3, and they did the Punch-Out on the Wii. So, like, after they did the Wii version of Mario Strikers, they did Punch-Out, the reboot, and then they got sent to do Luigi's Mansion 2 on the 3DS, and then they did Luigi's Mansion 3, and Luigi's Mansion 3 sold 11 million fucking copies on the Switch. So
nice.
I was pretty sure that after they got bought by Nintendo, I'm like, okay, they're just going to do Luigi's Mansion until the end of time. They're never like Nintendo's never going to bring them back to do like Mario Strikers, which sold almost, nothing in comparison to what Switch games sell now. Oh, I'll shut my mouth. Here it is.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's something that separates Nintendo from, say, Activision, is Nintendo doesn't just beat something to death.
right,
That
and I
is one
appreciate
thing
that.
very much in their corner where it's like, they don't do that. They mix it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, F-Zero died on the GameCube and has never ever been touched since.
that's true. But I think something that we'll shit on Nintendo here and there. I don't think we're nearly as harsh on Nintendo that people say we are. But I will say that as a purely video game company, they're the best one in terms of just like being good at being a video game company. Granted, that's all they do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and they this was their thing. There was a good article on Game Industry Biz today, which was basically saying like, you know, they were kind of reiterating what Iwata had said and what the current president also said like 2 weeks ago at their investors meeting. But they're like, we don't want to do mergers and acquisitions. And there's a much, and I think Iwata said it way better than the current president. The current president said, we don't want to just buy someone who doesn't fit into our culture and philosophy of game design, which is good. I think that's a fine statement. And it makes sense, which is why, you know, I felt the same way about them. But Iwata had a better statement where he's just like, the problem with mergers and acquisitions is that when you buy a company, you're just buying a vessel. He says, like, what makes a game good is its developers. And if we just buy a studio just to have the studio branding or the studio name and their IPs, but the people leave, then we've wasted our money.
Yeah.
It's like, so Iwata's thing was like, I don't really want to buy. I'm like, I'm not interested in buying the name of a studio because what, you know, they could easily just all bail ship right afterwards, and then I'm great. I bought this name, and I have none of the talent that made the game, because Iwata was a developer, so he kind of understood the whole, you know, good games come from developers. They don't really come from you know, the logo, the branding. So,
yeah, and also just don't be a shitty place to work, and that helps a lot. You know?
Yeah, and so that is the one thing you could kind of say, like, well, you know, maybe Microsoft should be afraid of the fact that they're gobbling all these people up, but what if they all leave? And I'm like, bro, they bought up everybody in North America. There's like, you're either working for Sony or Microsoft or maybe like the Embracer Group at this point. There is no one else to go.
And also, I don't know that this is necessarily true, but supposedly Microsoft pays better. There was like a little snippet on Twitter about that. Like,
I've heard recently that Microsoft's way now, we're talking now, not in the past, but Microsoft now is way better at just sort of leaving studios autonomous, like, you know, to their own devices.
Oh wow, yeah.
Like they're not buying Obsidian to have Obsidian help with Call of Duty. What, you know, they're buying Obsidian because they want Obsidian to make RPGs for them, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of, yeah, it's a good thing to hear. It's a good thing to see. It's definitely not how things always used to be, but
Phil Spencer still hasn't been on the wrong side of any topic so far as I know.
Yeah, so that's actually a pretty nice thing, where, because Platinum said, like, you know, they're open to acquisition as long as they get to remain, you know, free to pursue their own games.
Oh,
so
and that got like, Spencer's little dick so hard.
Maybe, I don't know. I was kind of like, I would figure Nintendo might be thinking about it, but someone has a good point, and then I'm like, there's way too many egos at Platinum, and I'm like, that's true. like I could see it not have, despite the fact that they've worked with Nintendo a lot, I could almost see Platinum not going to Nintendo because there's too many egos at the top there.
Well, it's exactly why, like, Capcom wouldn't buy Platinum, you know? All that bad blood. Yeah. Well, I guess it's not really bad blood, but it's not great blood.
It's definitely gotten better, because on both sides. Okay, so here's some really in-depth industry thing, but like the bad blood between Capcom and Platinum, like on both sides, have actually bled out of both companies. So
they're just gone.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So yeah, the people who had beef with each other are no longer with either. So,
all right, I'm gonna big brain you for a second, because I know we're gonna talk about this game, and I'm just gonna jump into it right now. But Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with the Booster Course Pass. Now, yes, I know that the 8 is supposed to look like a track, but it also looks like an infinity symbol, and that's because there will never be a new Mario Kart.
Yeah.
It will just be Mario Kart 8 forever, and they'll just turn it so that it's a fucking Mario Kart Infinity, and they'll just release new updates, sort of like Smash, where it's just like new courses instead of new characters forever.
It's funny because it's 5 years. It's 5 years after 8 Deluxe came out, and we're nearly 8 years after Mario Kart Vanilla came out. Because Mario Kart 8 is a Wii U game, and then they had Deluxe, which took all the DLC and then added a new style battle mode, a traditional style battle mode, called it Deluxe. So it's not, Deluxe wasn't new when it came out. Deluxe was, a 3-year-old port of a Wii U game with a couple new modes that most people don't even play. And 5 years after that, fuck it. Let's just add let's add DLC courses.
48 new courses.
So you gotta admit, like, for as late as this fucking is in the game, that's a lot of courses they're adding.
Yeah.
That's a whole game. And it's only $25 for all of it.
I mean,
but it's gonna take 2 years to come out though. Like, it's not, they said it'll come out between now and the end of 23.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, that's a hell of a wait. But just out of, curiosity, how many courses did the original Mario Kart have? Like the original
on the SNES?
Yeah, like the original Mario Kart had. Okay, well, the original Mario Kart might not have had many at all because it's on SNES. Say 64. 64 had like what, 8 courses?
I want to say it was the same actually. No, it's closer to 16 to 20, I think.
Oh, it had that many courses? That's
4. It was like, yeah, because 4, 8, 12, 16 on SNES. It might have only been 16 on N64. It was either 16 or 20. It was 16 to 20 courses, somewhere in there.
Yeah, and so this one's gonna have 70 when it's how many courses does the base game Deluxe have?
Oh, I don't know. It's
a fucking zillion.
At least another 48, if not more.
Yeah, you're gonna have 100 goddamn courses.
Yeah, you're gonna have close to like 100 courses, I think.
That's amazing.
I wonder if I could look that up. But yes, there is. But I mean, a lot of Mario Kart 8 is old courses, but they're redone, they're remade. So it wasn't like no work was done in them. 48. It's 48 plus 48.
It's nuts.
There's going to be 96 courses at the end of this.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, it's like that and Smash are... If you were only going to own 2 games on your Switch and have the least likelihood of being bored, those are the 2 games.
Well, it's funny because those are 2 of the 3 best-selling games on the system. So
yeah,
Mario Kart 8 has 43 million copies sold so far, which is insane.
Jeez.
Absolutely insanity. And then, Animal Crossing is number 2 was 35 million, I think. 37 million for Animal Crossing and 27 million for Smash. So
that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, Switch is just murdering it. We're never going to see another console from them.
I mean, this thing's getting long in the tooth, man. We might.
They're making so much money off it. They don't give a fuck.
They don't.
They don't renew consoles because they're getting old. They renew consoles because they're not selling anymore.
Yeah, well, that's true. But
all right, so we should obviously talk about The Force Unleashed getting released on Switch. That's a 10-year-old game?
It's the Wii version too. It's not the 360 version.
No shit. Same
developers as the Wii version as well, Chrome.
Actually, that's older than a 10. That's a 14-year-old game.
Yeah, that's like, it's at least 12 to 14 years old, yeah.
That's nuts. I mean, I guess if it runs. You know what I didn't see anything on, but I sort of like the anime, is Demon Slayer. So I didn't see what type of game that is.
Arena fighter, I think.
Oh, well, okay. I was sort of hoping for like a action-adventure type. You're hunting down. It's still cool.
I don't think it is, but I could be wrong because I don't watch anime.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of it.
It's like that's like the biggest anime right now. Like
yeah,
fans
it's
should love with that thing.
it is up there. And then of course we got to talk about my game that I'm looking forward to most, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp.
Yeah, I finally got officially got a day on April 8th. They have the course creators there still, which is nice.
That means it's coming with me on my trip.
Yeah, and it's online. This has online play, and it has voice acting now too.
No shit.
Which is so that's going to be fully voicing the game too, which is something that Pokemon still can't do.
I don't think I care about online play that much, but it's one of the, it's sort of like Civ for me, where I don't want to play competitively anymore. Like I used to play like Age of Empires competitively and like Age of Mythology. It's all about like click speed and how fast you can get through the same decisions.
It's got a course creator, so I wonder if the course creator will have online as well. So you can maybe just download a bunch of different style course created maps, or whatever.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
It's another one of those, like, it's from the GameCube, Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, Game Boy Advance.
Of gaming that, again, Advance Wars disappeared after, like, I think a DS game.
And it has always broken my heart. I love those games. Honestly, there's not a lot of games. Like, everybody has a game that they can shut their brain off and just kind of play.
Yeah.
And I know it's a strategy game, so you can't really shut your brain off, but like it's one of those games where like if I just want to kill a little bit of time and not, get like real worked up, it's a couch game. I can. You remember Crystal Chronicles for the DS?
Yep.
That was another game that I could just like play for hours to kill time. Like I don't know what makes a game good for that, or if it's like personal preference, but it's like.
Well, you're in luck, though, because there was actually multiple projects of that genre. Because you had Advance Wars 1 and 2, you had Triangle Strategy, which is about to come out. That got a demo. First 3 chapters of the game are now available to play for free. And then you had Front Mission First Remake, and the announcement of Part 2 as well.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that game.
So Front Mission is a future. It's Final Fantasy Tactics, whatever, right?
Yes,
but
like
it's futuristic with mechs.
Okay.
And it looks like there's also like an aiming aspect to it. So when you aim, it actually goes into like first person, and you target individual things on like other people's mechs. But it is a strategy RPG. Turn-based strategy.
It's a slower Chrome Hounds, which is hard to do.
well, it's not a real-time mech combat game. It is a tactical RPG.
Yeah.
Which is so. Yeah, you got a bunch of that. The one thing though, I think. I don't know. It's funny because I actually had a lot of people, sounding off about this because they started the direct with Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
Yeah. Which
is another Musuo Fire Emblem games. And because everyone was rumoring that there's going to be a remake or a sequel to the big Fire Emblem game. So that would have been just another tactical RPG. And nope, it's Fire Emblem Warriors. Dynasty Warriors game based on 3 houses. And I was like, oh, this is not what Fire Emblem fans asked for. But I actually surprisingly had a lot of Fire Emblem people going like, no, I love this. This is great. I love it. And I was like, okay, all right, never mind, I guess. Like, I would have thought you were all going to be bummed that it wasn't a brand new Fire Emblem. But, here we go.
Dynasty Warriors games are another genre of game that I just like. God, I understand the appeal. I see why you like it. I can't get into it.
Yeah.
And I've tried, and I've wanted to. I just can't get into it. And so, far be it for me to shit on it. I'm not trying to shit on it. I just I have a hard time. I couldn't even fake enthusiasm about that. Like it doesn't get me. Like I am more enthusiastic about Kingdom Hearts than I am about any Dynasty Warriors type.
Well, they got the cloud versions of all of them now on Switch.
Yeah, I saw that. They have that, and they're bringing back Assassin's Creed Ezio Collection because you can't let that die.
Which I was kind of like, wait, that wasn't on Switch already? And I guess not. It was like 3 and 4 and Rogue were on Switch, not Ezio games. It's like, oh, I guess whatever.
And now there is.
It's funny how they still look like they run like crap.
Well,
in the trailer, so it's kind of like they still don't run well. I guess it's the true Assassin's Creed experience.
I mean, I can't. Well, I don't know. I guess the first game Ezio's in didn't seem like it ran that shitty to me. But to be fair, it's been a while, and you know, everything on that system probably looks like shit comparatively now. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just one of those, like, it's very much a, I mean, I don't know, who cares at this point? Like, you if you want to play the Ezio collection or whatever, you've probably played them, but I don't know, maybe portability is a big thing for some people. I don't know. I don't.
The Switch has brought in a population of gamers that never existed before. It's their first time, especially during the pandemic. So
maybe,
I don't know. I don't have a problem with them bringing it back, especially if people want to play it. It's not for me. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
How hard is your dick for Chrono Cross, by the way?
I'm really interested in the fact that they're bringing in Radical Dreamers as well. Like, that's going to be part of the collection.
Yeah.
So it's technically a collection now. So that's really cool because that was never translated officially. You know, it was for the Nintendo Satellaview. It was a download-only game for a peripheral for the Super Famicom that you used a satellite uplink to download the data onto a blank cartridge. So yeah, pretty happy that that's actually going to be getting an official like release. So that's actually very cool. Chrono Cross is a Playboy Playmate, you know, type of girlfriend experience where it's the most.
You've been jerking off to it for years. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Her. It's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see, but it's just completely empty on the inside. Actually, that's pretty mean to Playmates. There's probably, I'll bet you there's like some fucking like genius level like chemist or biologist who has a Playmate. That'd be hot.
Can you think of an easier job? Probably a lot of smart people who are like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll do that. If I was even a couple points
photos of my
hotter,
naked ass, and I'll get this science project funded. Okay.
if I was even just like 1 or 2 points hotter, 100%. Are you kidding me? Anybody who talks shit about sex work is somebody who doesn't think they could do it.
It's not about the sex work. It's just supposed to be like, okay, imagine, I don't know, like just it's the Chris Hemsworth in the Ghostbusters reboot of video games.
Yeah.
Like, he's this beautiful man, but his character is just completely brain dead. I don't know. Like, I've lost the plot on this metaphor, just like Chrono Cross loses its own plot playing the game. It's a gorgeous game, but its battle system is different, but it's not great. Its story is a convoluted mess. There's 43 playable characters, and none of them really get fleshed out all that much because of it.
43. Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. The art's amazing. The soundtrack is the best in the world. But it's wrapped up in a game that's only okay.
Nothing more heartbreaking than that. Okay, let's end on a high note. Let's end on the game that you probably were the most excited about. Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
I thought you were gonna say Earthbound.
Well, I mean, you might be excited about that most, but I mean, you've been so...
Klonoa. I'm excited about Klonoa.
You do? Oh, yeah, Klonoa did get...
Yeah, Klonoa 1 and 2 remakes are coming to the Switch in July.
Wow.
I'm very happy about that, actually.
Your dick's not hard for Xenoblade Chronicles 3?
Oh, my. So very, very hard for this game. I didn't want to like turn this whole podcast into like a big deep discussion for someone who hasn't played the other games, and
that's appreciated.
Let me just say I'm kind of shocked that and Takahashi, the creator founder Monosoft, put out a statement on the day of the direct where he said, you might have seen the key visual for the game, which is literally this continent, one of the Titans in Xenoblade 2 with this giant gaping cut across, like it's been ripped open in half, and then the sword from Xenoblade 1, the giant sword, you know, next to it. And he was saying that like we planned out this story, this game, before we even were working on 2. So basically, after 1 was a success, and they basically were like, okay, you're definitely going to get to make more games. He immediately went back to his old ways of just, now I'm going to write out a Bible's worth of games, but they're successful now. So he's actually making them. He's actually getting through them.
Well, that's kind of cool.
So it's super bizarre because you see like all the visuals and of the game is a lot of just mishmash, like of the worlds like mushed together kind of thing, like crumbled or like faded or aged, but like mixed together. And then it all the races from the first game's universe are at war with the races of the second game's universe. And I you know, it's actually nice because it's kind of like going back to like why it's called Xeno in the first place. So it's going back to this very much like how do people from differing planets really, or different countries, differing cultures, you know, races, how are they going to find a way to coexist and sort of like the trials and tribulation of that. So I actually really dig that aspect of it. It's kind of nice to see stuff go back there, but now it's kind of weird because you play Xenoblade 1 and you get real, you know, you get an affinity for all the characters in the world of that game, and then you play 2, you get an affinity for that, and then you see the 2 meet, and they basically are now in the future, the 2 of them somehow have been probably violently brought together, and now they're at war with each other. So wow. It's kind of a really interesting from a sort of real world, almost philosophical angle of the whole thing.
So when that comes out, that's all you're streaming, period.
Oh yeah. Some people are like, well, what if this or that comes out in September as well? And I'm like, well, I'll see you in October.
Yep, that sucks. I guess you'll have to watch somebody else for that shit.
Yeah, so I really dig that aspect of it. I think a lot, and I dig the fact that yeah, hey, Nintendo's okay with this. You know, it's happening. Granted, they're very hands off when it comes to like other studio stuff. That even if they own that other studio, so yeah, it's really interesting to see that aspect of it. It's really exciting actually too. So, because it's funny because the main characters are basically they're called offseers, and the guy playing the flute in the trailer or whatever, basically he quote unquote mourns the fallen soldiers. So he's got that's his role basically. And I think one of our other listeners pointed out, it's like, don't you think it's kind of weird how like both countries seem to have these people who mourn, you know, both have the same role within their respective country / respective army. And I'm like, I don't think it's too weird. I think that actually happens a lot. You'll find like within like you know, when we're in our own, all the wars of human civilization, it's like there's always medics, you know, there's always you know, it might be a priest, or it might be a shaman, or
chaplains.
You know,
yeah, there's always somebody.
Yeah, so I think that's actually going to be a big strong point of the game too. Is just going to be like, you know, you people at the end of the day, you all just want to live. You all just want to, like, you know, survive. So yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with that. It's definitely not something we usually, because like you look at a game like Triangle Strategy or even Fire Emblem, which lets you play, you know, opposing sides. You're introduced to
the heroes
and the villains in that game, like, and they're, even when you are allowed to play both sides, like in a Fire Emblem, it's very clear there's the good side and then there's the bad side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I actually think it's kind of awesome what they've done with 3, which is like, no, we're just, we didn't ever really say they were going to meet, but like, hey, guess what? The countries and races of 1 are now actually going to meet the country and races of 2 that you both love, and they now they're killing each other. So it's a lot more like getting like, and now it's a lot more like, fuck, I don't want, like, now you as the player coming into this, you're coming into this at part 3 in the game, and you're like, you don't want this, like, you don't want to see this happen. So
but which heroes are gonna win?
Obviously I think the cast, because it's like the cast is split between 3 from the races of 1, 3 from the races of 2. And you even see in the trailer that all of them are running around together. So I'm like, obviously they band up at some point.
That's bullshit. They should have had one of the casts kill the other cast.
Well, I don't know.
Break everybody's heart, goddammit.
Well, I don't know how it's going to play out. Well, I mean, these are the playable characters. So, I mean, they could pull an Eris, who knows? But I'm interested to see what they do to sort of legitimize or whatever, because like in the trailer you see a couple characters from 1 and 2, and like with the character Nia, she always had like her butler companion Dromark, who's a big giant talking sentient tiger, and we don't see him in the trailer, and I'm like, oh, where's Dromark? I can't wait to see where he is. And like someone like, what if he's dead? Yeah. What if he got killed in this one of these wars? And then it's like, ooh, I don't want to think about that.
So we're ending on a downer. You know what? I'll bring it back up. The game I'm most excited for from the entire direct is, of course, MLB The Show. Thank you, everybody, and we got producers to thank.
That's a Sony game, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you know the story of that?
No, but oh no, it's the court case, right?
Yeah,
that's right. For everyone who doesn't know,
Sony has to make it.
Yeah, Sony has to put it on a platform because the MLB was all like, amazing. On that note, we've got some producers to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames Dude of the week was That Dude Bro. Thank you, That Dude Bro. And our producers for this episode are The Arnett, Screwnami, Top 35, Hyper Viper 89, Hockey Kong 64, Ziggy Z, Online Persona, and Miles XVS. Thank you, dudes, and we will catch you next time.